Hi, I'm Shelley Johnson in Lander, Wyoming, and come with me. I'm going to go talk to Sophie Mosemann. She's a personal trainer and an athlete here. Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
How old are you? You don't mind?
I'm 35.
35.
Am I? Yes,
Yeah.
35.
Okay, and maybe tell me a little bit about how long you've been in Lander.
Well, we've been in Lander 8.5 years.
Okay.
We moved to Lander right after my husband got done with his residency program, and we both love the community, so we came, settled in, and I had no idea how long we'd be here, but we're still here, and we love it, and we have no intention of leaving. So.
Oh, that's great to hear. So your husband's a doctor, is that right?
Yeah.
Is it Mark?
Yep.
Okay, and you have children?
I do. I have one 7-year-old son.
Okay,
Gus.
what's his name? Gus.
Gus.
Tell me a little bit about what you do here. We're at Elemental Training Center.
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer, and then I also just recently started teaching Zumba. I went and got certified in that, which is a dance fitness class, totally different than anything else Elemental has seen before, but I know that with my own personal fitness, I was really missing fun, number
Right.
one, and fluidity, and that seemed like the perfect way to add that into my fitness routine.
What is Zumba? I have no idea. Tell me
Well,
what Zumba is.
I mean, it's kind of this cheeseball thing that's taken the nation by storm. But if you look at it from what it was based upon, which was a bunch of guys from Latin America who are great dancers, who started this kind of fitness craze, and it's Latin dance. It's getting women back to feeling, and men. I mean, men founded it, back to feeling comfortable in their own bodies, getting fluid movement, keeping joints and knees and everything loose and moving, and plus it's just fun. And you burn a ton of calories. I mean, I'm dripping sweat with every class I teach. Zumba claims, and I can't, that you can burn up to 1,000 calories, which I believe.
In an hour or like 45 minutes?
In an hour. Depends on how much you put into it, obviously. But also, I think it's fun. It gets you excited about getting in shape and being fit again. And it gets those, like I said, it adds fluidity. If you've had shoulder issues or if you've had hip issues, this is going to help you work through those in a fun way.
Okay, great. And how many classes do you, what are the opportunities in a given week for somebody to do?
Right now I teach a Monday at 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
and Thursday at noon.
What if you,
You
have
should,
two left?
it's fun.
What if you have two left feet? That's my
what,
question.
Half the people claim that, and it's amazing. This last class, one dance is really hip intensive.
Right.
And everybody was so stiff, and this last class I'm like, yes! They're moving again,
All right.
because everybody's just like so one plane,
Yeah.
with everything we do. Whether you walk, run, lift weights, whatever, it's very one
Right.
plane. This is not.
Okay, that's exciting. Tell me a little bit, how long have you been a personal trainer, and what do you do as a personal trainer?
I have been a personal trainer for Elemental for 1.5 years.
Right. Why would someone hire you as a personal trainer? I mean, why does anyone hire a personal trainer?
I think accountability. A lot of people know. Well, some people have no clue what they're supposed to do. A lot of people know what they're supposed to do and just don't do it on their own. Or they get to a spot and they go, "Okay, good enough." Whereas if you have a trainer there, it's like, no, you need to push it. Plus, I mean, I just think it's great to be able to walk in and somebody knows what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. They have get your workout planned so that you don't even have to think about it.
Right.
I know what
Just show
Shelley
up.
needs, and so this is what Shelley's going to do this week.
Right.
And push her in the places she needs to be pushed.
Right.
So,
Why did you want to become a personal trainer? What about that do you like?
well, honestly, I started strength training when I was 13 years
wow.
old, and I was training for one of those cheeseball fitness competitions,
Right.
honestly. And I was working with a personal trainer. He was not my trainer; he was my partner.
Okay.
And so I've always strength trained my entire life, basically. And it just sort of, when my son went to school, I mean, my background is not. I always trained, and I always wrote programs for people, and I always taught aerobics, but I never thought of it as a career. For whatever
Right.
reason, it was just a secondary part of my life. But when my son started school, and I needed something part-time, and I thought, this is something I'm super passionate about, and so I talked to Stephen Allen and Jago, and they seemed to think that there would be room for growth there, and so I started tackling it, and I started studying and to do my NSCA certification, and then I also took on a friend who was on the fence for years and had tried exercise and couldn't ever get anywhere with it and was frustrated and kind of gave up, and I said, look, just give me a chance. I want to train you for the next 6 months for free.
Yeah.
And
For practice?
for practice. And so I met with her 3 days a week, and so I did that. I shadowed, I did my own strength training, and then I studied, and then about in 6 months to a year time, I did my test and I was ready to start. So,
So what is, maybe you could tell me a little bit about your athletic background. Were you in sports?
Yeah, I did track. I was a sprinter and a high jumper and played softball, and then also did cheerleading. Now, as cheesy as that sounds, it's so helpful in my job, I think, because I'm the cheerleader and a pusher. You know, I'm the first one to tell you, great job, you know, whatever, and then also to push it to the next level. But as far as cheerleading went, we actually were our state champions and then got to go compete, and we were on, you know, ESPN.
Wow, where was this at? Where were you?
I was in Utah.
Are you from Utah?
Mm-hmm.
Where at in Utah?
Well, that's a good question. My dad was a fisheries biologist, so we traveled every 2 to 3 years. But I graduated from high school in a town called Price, Utah.
Okay.
And that's where I did the cheerleading. And then
was this the type of cheerleading where you're like getting thrown up and down, and it's not just raw?
We had guys, and so because otherwise I was a base. Yeah. Because I'm not 5 feet tall and 80 pounds. But we did have guys that year, and so we did, all the stunts, the throw in the air, the flips, the chairs,
I would have never known that about you. I wonder if many people know that.
Probably not.
Oh, that's great. So you did sports and cheerleading? Mm-hmm. And what about today? What are your athletic pursuits and interests?
I love biking, mountain biking primarily. That's my favorite sport to do. But I love triathlons because I think that they just kind of keep you well-rounded. Mm-hmm. You may not be the world's best swimmer or the world's best runner or the world's best biker, but you can do a triathlon, and if you get good at all 3 of those events, you can actually be competitive. So those are kind of my 2 things that I really like to do.
Yeah, when did you get into biking? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's funny because my parents raced mountain bikes when I was in high school, but of course at that point in time I wanted nothing to do with it because it's what my parents were doing. But I did start biking off and on then, and didn't ever build up the strength or the confidence to feel like I could be any good at it. And then when my son turned about 1, actually Jago and Cece Prine and some other girlfriends who were biking took me under their wing and was like, you know, let's go do this. And I asked them to take me out, and we started biking a lot together, and it just kind of, my love grew from that. Partly because it was aggressive, and you're in the dirt, and you're outside, and you're whatever, but also because it was mine. And being a mom, every mom seeks something that's just theirs, because you kind of lose that for a little while. So that was my thing. I could go do that with no one else involved, and feel tough and feel strong and feel feminine all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, have you done some biking events?
Yeah, I just did the Dakota 5-0, which is a 50-mile mountain bike race in South Dakota in September.
It's a pretty big one.
Yeah, my first race.
Okay,
That's how I do things. I'm like, I think I'll try the 50-mile mountain bike race.
How did it go?
It went great. You know, I had a few mechanical issues and whatever, but my goal, because I had no idea what to expect, was to finish with under a certain time period, and I did that. And so it felt really good.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and have you done triathlons? Can you tell me?
Yeah. I did not do one this last year. I did my first Olympic triathlon last summer. And then I'd done several sprints prior to that before I even started training here.
Okay.
So I plan to do at least 1 or 2 this summer. That's kind of going to be my spring focus.
Okay, great. So that was my next question is, do you have any goals right now for events or anything in the short or long term?
Yeah, the short term, I want to get back on a bike, whether it's in spin class form or, you know, whatever, because I've taken a leave from that.
Since the 50 mile.
Since the 50 mile. I mean, I've done some biking here and there, but not, 3 or 4 days a week. And then I guess to start strength training to get ready to move into endurance mode in the spring.
Okay.
Are kind of my goals. Yeah, I want to do the triathlon in St. George, which I think is in May.
And is that, what distance is that?
There's an Olympic and a sprint. I plan to do the Olympic.
What is the Olympic? Can you tell me what the distances are there?
Yeah, Olympic is a mile swim, a 26 or 8 mile bike. Gosh, I'm forgetting, and then a 10K.
It's a pretty good distance for.
So yeah, that's what they do. They call it Olympic because that's the distance they do in the Olympics.
Okay, so St. George Triathlon. When is that?
In May.
Okay, and what? Anything else? Big biking events? Or
yeah, we'll probably do the Dakota. I did it with a friend of mine, and we'll probably do that again in September, and I'd love to do one more in between that. Either a duathlon. They have several like trail run mountain bike races. In fact, there's one in Sheridan, I think, if they're still doing it. And then I heard that Lander's having a triathlon this summer.
I heard in August or something like that.
So I'm sure I'll probably do that one too.
Yeah, I'm sure you better do that one.
I know. It's right here.
I have to do that one.
I know.
What motivates you?
What motivates me? I think I'm like everybody else in that, you know, you want to look better, you want to feel better. But ultimately, I've always been one of those people that if I sit, I get grouchy and I don't feel good and I get achy. And so also just kind of not only extending the life in my years, but extending the years in my life,
Right.
both. And, you know, we need to use our bodies or they start to deteriorate and think they're heading towards, you know, the end.
Right.
So you keep telling your body, no, I'm not ready to quit yet. I need to keep going. And I think a huge motivator for me is my son, to watch him. And he's seen his grandma do triathlons. He's watched his mom do triathlons. He's watched his dad run a 50-mile, you know, race.
That's awesome.
And he is super athletic and super motivated. And that's just a part of his reality, you know,
Yeah.
which is great. My parents were the same way with me. I saw them be active my entire life. We didn't go sit on a beach and drink margaritas for vacation. We went camping. We went backpacking.
So you think that made a difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you thank him for that, huh?
Absolutely. They were not couch potatoes. They were always active, always doing something. I mean, they were racing mountain bikes for
Yeah, that's
Cannondale when
pretty
I was in high school, you know, so they set that high standard there.
Okay, that's great. What does your training look like, if you wouldn't mind, like, I don't know, maybe like give me a week right now, typical week, what does your training look like?
Right now, because I'm right in the midst of Zumba-ing,
Uh-huh.
I spend a lot of time working on dance choreography. But and then so basically I'm doing 3 days a week of strength training. I try and get 2 metabolic days in and 1 strength right now. You know what that means. I don't know if anyone else knows what that means. And then I also do my 2 days a week of teaching the Zumba class. So that's my full cardiovascular blast.
Okay. I guess maybe to kind of wrap this up, do you have any tips that you could give people? There's so many people out there who have either been fit and they're not fit anymore, or they've never been fit and they know they need to be. Do you have any tips you could offer that might help people, you know, get fit and maybe stay motivated?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is start today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Don't wait till the first of the year. Start today. Because if you've been putting it off and you know you need to do it, it's probably been way longer than it should have been. And the other thing is to find something you enjoy. You know, find something you're passionate about, because if you absolutely hate every moment of your workout, even if it's really going to work for you, you're not going to continue to do it. So find something you really like. And then the other thing is to be honest with yourself. Everybody should make a list. What are you willing to do and what can you do? What can you do is a much bigger list. I can work out 25 hours a week. I can hire a personal trainer. I can eat nothing but raw broccoli and get where I need to be. And then what are you willing to do? And see where those cross over and try and make them as close to being the same as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's great advice too, I think.
Because we all know what we should be doing. But what you have to figure out is, what are you willing to give up? Be it family time, be it friend time, be it TV time, and what are you honestly going to be willing to do? And then accept that as your reality. Stop making excuses.
And what are the rewards if someone does this?
Oh gosh, I mean, from my clients' standpoints, I mean, their relationships are better with their husband, with their family. They're happier people. They look better. They feel better. I mean, it's hard in the beginning. The first 2 weeks you start training, if you have a trainer, you will hate it. You'll be sore. You'll be tired. But after that, if you can get past that first 2 weeks, you just feel like a whole new person.
Yeah.
You know, more energy, feel better about yourself, and it's projected, and so you attract people to you. And I don't know, I just think that it's not, for me, and I know all of us here have a little bit different perspective, but it's not an option. It's if you want to live a long, healthy life, it's not an option. You have to do it. You have to think of it like a job.
Yeah.
Every day I got to go do something.
That's great. Well, thanks a million. Really appreciate
Sure.
your time. It was great. Thank you, Sophie.
Thanks.